Hey guys, hi, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Steven. Welcome back to Newark as well. This is my fourth layover in April in Newark, 24-hour layover. My first trip in May also has another 24-hour layover in Newark. If you remember a couple weeks ago, if you watched that video where I was in Central Park thinking about getting a membership to the Met, I questioned whether or not it wouldn't be frivolous to spend that much money, 80 bucks, for a year membership, especially since I would have vet bills for both Claire and Eleanor. I decided last week that I would indeed splurge and get a membership. I was coming in to meet my friend Joseph, and with a membership, I'm able to bring a guest with me to the museum, and so I took Joseph with me, and we had a wonderful day. We met one of the, I think they're called docents, the folks that keep watch over the museum, the exhibits. Really fantastic. I can't remember her first name. It's killing me. She's an Aries. I remember that. We had a wonderful time. She's from Cuba originally, and she had so much charisma. But we had a wonderful time at the museum, and I'm really glad I got a membership. Today I meant to go to the museum, but I just overslept a little bit too much because, as you know, naps are not your friend. I always oversleep when I take a nap, but so I decided to stay in the hotel and check out the mall next door. My plan was to go see the movie, the Avengers Endgame, but the only showing available was for 11 o'clock tonight, and I have a 6:30 van time tomorrow morning, so there's no 11 o'clock show for me. If I go, I will go, because I've seen every other movie leading up to this, so I'll go maybe tomorrow or the day after, back in Vegas. So I figured, since I have a little time, I have a couple hours before I really want to go to bed, I would film a little question and answer video. I know another one. There's always a question. And I have so much to say, right? But one of my coworkers actually wrote some questions underneath in the comment section of one of my recent videos. Oh, I apologize for this lighting, by the way. It is atrocious. It's a lamp right here. And I have every other light on in the room. So I'm going to do a little question and answer. Some of these questions, actually all of these questions, are questions a coworker wrote as suggestions, and I thought he was kidding with a couple of these, but then I realized as I read them, I'm asked these questions almost every flight, and they're not questions you would typically think of as a flight attendant, so they're brilliant questions because I get them every day. And then after I answer the questions, I'm going to give you a little room tour. I don't frequently do room tours because honestly, hotel rooms don't get that interesting. I mean, I don't know how many times you've seen a hotel room in flight attendant videos. They're all the same. But this one that I'm in has a little something about it that I've never seen it in a hotel room of mine, and so I thought you'd get a kick out of it, as I did. I will be making full use of it after I film this video. Is that a hint? No, it's not a hint. All right, so let's go to these questions. All right, so this first one, I thought he was kidding. But again, if I'm mid-cabin, as I am on this trip, I get this question every single flight. Are there dogs barking under the plane? I'll ask that again because I know that you're like, what? Are there dogs barking under the plane? And that question arises because I don't know about other aircraft, but my airline flies completely all Airbus fleet. And I'm not sure if it's specific to our planes, but when you're mid-cabin, before we head out to the taxi, out to the tarmac on the runway, you'll hear a noise. I was supposed to be making a dog noise, like a barking noise, but I've become such a cat person over the past few months. I don't even know how it, bark, 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 bark. It sounds like a dog is barking and wiggling maybe under the aircraft mid-cabin, and it really does sometimes sound like a dog, and it almost sounds like it has a rhythm, but you can't dance to it. And someone typically asks, oh, is there a dog under the plane? No, there are no dogs under the plane. That is a hydraulic system. From what I understand, because I'm not, an engineer, you're welcome. That would be awful. There is a hydraulic system that's probably moving fuel to different parts of the plane for a nice, easy, safe takeoff. Typically, we'll have one engine going to make sure that everything is, ready to go, and then we'll turn that second one on and we're just about to take off. So I really honestly think it's just fuel being moved around. It could be hydraulics for all sorts of reasons. Aircrafts are just full of hydraulic systems. So that is a hydraulic system working in the aircraft. No dogs. Can I use the electrical outlet in the lavatory to charge my phone? I thought this was a silly question until I realized that people ask me this all the time. If you go into again, I don't know about other airlines. I never really look for the outlet in their lavatories. But in our aircraft, there's a little outlet, a little plug that is always in our aircraft. It's been inop. It does not work. It does not function. Apparently, those were intended to allow people to use electric shavers. I don't know why you would need to shave on an aircraft, and these are all new aircraft too. It's not like these are aircraft from the 1950s where you had to plug in an electric shaver and shave before you got off the plane. But apparently they were originally intended to be used for electric shavers. Who knew? They could potentially have been used for vacuum cleaners and stuff like that, I guess, but excuse me. In my airline, I work for an ultra low cost carrier. We do not have outlets on each seat. Not yet, that might change. But we do not have outlets at each seat. So people will come on board, with their batteries kind of half-mast, and they'll want to charge their phone. And they'll try to, I'm sure they try to plug your phone in the lavatory. Do not do that. Do not charge your phone on an aircraft. If you see an outlet that's not clearly intended for you as a passenger, do not put your phone in there. Do not plug it in. There are additional outlets. I know we have at least 2 on each aircraft. They're kind of hidden, but not really well. They're not intended for your device. There are flight attendants I have worked with who have plugged in their phones, who have then told me they have fried their cell phones because these are different wattage, I think, or voltage, or whatever that is. It's a different voltage, and it's meant for like a vacuum cleaner, not our cell phones. So please, 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 if you're a new flight attendant and you see someone else plugging in their phone or their HotLogic Mini, which happens too, don't do it. Don't fall into the habit of following, oh, but he did it. Don't. I've heard plenty of people say their phones were fried, but the outlet in the lavatory is apparently originally used for electric shavers, but they've been inop, or they don't work anymore. So don't bother doing it. It's not for your phone. Don't do it. Do we have blankets? As I mentioned, my airline, we're a low-cost carrier, ultra low-cost carrier. We don't have blankets. I'm a little out of focus here. Why does that work? So we don't have blankets. We have emergency, like thermal, those little Mylar plastic blankets in the event of emergency if someone's going into shock, but they're not meant to be used on board for just comfort. This is why I always suggest people dress in layers when you're flying, because when you get on there, you'll be kind of warm and stuffy, but once we get up in the air, it does get chilly. But people always ask for blankets, and we say no. I'm kind of glad we don't have them, because number one, it would just be one more thing for me to do after everyone gets off the plane, cleaning up blankets and plastic bags and all that stuff. Number two, I don't know if those blankets are clean. I'm not a germaphobe, I'm not a neat freak by any means, but I don't know if those blankets have been washed. If you are watching this video and you're a flight attendant with an airline that does give out blankets, like in first class or business or something, drop a comment below if those blankets are cleaned. If you know, are they washed every time between use, or are they just kind of recycled and repackaged and washed periodically? I would love to know. So drop a comment below if you know. But so we don't have blankets on board. I do in my rollerboard typically carry either a lightweight wrap or a throw in my bag for my own personal use if I'm deadheading, for example, if I'm traveling non-revving, or if one of our guests is an older woman, or is someone who's clearly not dressed appropriately, and they say, oh, do you have blankets? I'll offer, I have this little wrap or this little throw, it's clean, would you like to borrow it? And I always get it back, because sometimes they do accept it. I've even lent out my work cardigan. We have a little black cardigan with my airline name on it. I've even lent that out and a few times, and people have accepted that and used it. I've always gotten it back. And if I didn't get it back, I would be heartbroken. I don't wear it all the time. I'm already bulky enough. A cardigan is not my friend either. So no, we don't have blankets. Why do we, this is a fantastic question. Why do we block the aisle with the cart? Now, if you have not figured out who I fly for, your airline might not do this. Not every airline does it. Why am I so blurry? Hello, back again. Bad lighting and blurry, not good. I think every airline must have their own strategy or their own approach for security of the flight deck. And I'm not going to share too much about this, because there are aspects of this securing our flight deck that is security sensitive. But this one thing you will see if you fly on my airline, you're going to see it happening pretty much every flight at some point. If the flight crew, the pilot or the captain or the first officer, have to come out of the cockpit or the flight deck for any reason, like the lavatory, grab a snack, they just need to stretch their legs, we have a whole protocol. We have a whole system where we would communicate with each other in certain ways to let each other know that we have secured the area, that there are no guests in the lavatory, there are no guests within the first few rows ahead of us, and that it's safe to come out. And we have our own little process. And one of the things is we block off the aisle with the heaviest cart we have. Typically, that's our snack and beverage service cart. That is heavy. It's loaded with soda cans and snacks and water and ice and beer and all sorts of stuff. So it's usually very, very heavy, and we block that across the aisle so you can't come in, you can't approach without really trying real hard. And we have a flight attendant standing behind that cart who is being situationally aware, always keeping an eye on who's approaching. We're supposed to be, I think our flight attendant manual says we're supposed to be friendly. We're not supposed to be like glowering at them. I do tend to not look super friendly when I'm doing it, because, well, I look like this, and I'll stand with my arms crossed a little bit, and I don't want to look too approachable, because I don't want you coming up to me. Because if you get too close, I'm gonna be like, no, please don't, please stay away for the time being. And you may not always understand what's going on, so you might get a little upset as I'm like, no, you can't. But we block that cart off, that aisle off with a cart to let our flight crew come out of the flight deck if they have to. And when they have done with their business, we'll put that cart back, and then you can resume using the lavatory if you'd like to. But that's why we have the cart there. Other airlines don't do this, and they must all have their own little way of making sure the flight deck is secure. For example, now I mentioned Southwest a lot, I think, in my videos, because that's the airline I fly the most when I'm non-revving. I love Southwest. It's easy to get on them for me. out of Vegas. But I think they have a flight attendant that's standing in front of the flight deck. I don't think they have carts, or I don't know if they're big enough to use to block. I don't know. Each airline has their own process, and that is ours. It's one part of a whole system when it comes to securing the flight deck. Long answer to that question, I'm sorry. Not a surprise, right? And that was it. Those are the questions that my friend left for me to answer. And I thought they were great questions. There are things that people typically wouldn't have asked on a comment section, for example, but people in real life ask me all the time. Is there a dog under the aircraft? Other questions that I've received this week from a lot of people. For some reason, there's a lot of people trying to get in touch with me. I've had 3 people, that's not a lot, but for me that seems like a lot. 3 people this week have contacted me through Facebook Messenger asking if they could call me, or they called me on Facebook Messenger, because it's not hard to find me. That's my name, Stephen Pereira. So they find me. But they would call me or ask if they could call me, and I'm not going to answer that call. It's there is a line. I do present myself 100% as to how I really am and who I really am, but I am going to draw that line where I'm not going to chat with you guys on the phone. I've received a couple comments and things that would make me uncomfortable anyway. So no, we're not going to be chatting on the phone. You can certainly contact me. I should probably do a whole separate video on ways you can contact me. But leave a comment below. I always read my comments, or you can always send me an email. You know my email, steven.pereira@gmail.com. Or I have a Facebook page called A Bear in the Air, which you can find a little link up at the top of my About page. There you go. Another question that has popped up in the comment section in my Facebook Messenger and email is whether or not I would start a PayPal account, because people have been very generous in offering to help take care of some costs associated with Eleanor, Claire, and Buddy's medical bills. Oddly enough, this is totally separate from my YouTube channel. One of my oldest friends started I've known her for almost 17 years, so she's one of my oldest friends. She started a GoFundMe page. Go figure. She started a GoFundMe page. So there is a GoFundMe page, basically for my cat's care. She set it at $1,000 because she figures it would cost roughly $1,000 a year to take care of, average costs for a cat. That's, well, whatever. But so if you go to my Facebook, oh, hello, there we go. If you go to my Facebook page, A Bear in the Air, I think I made a link to that GoFundMe page. So if you're curious, go to that page. And is there something else? I think that's it. There's a couple other things I wanted to tell you, but I forgot. So let me do the little room tours. We're looking at 18.5 minutes. So let's take you on a quick room tour because, as I mentioned, there's one thing about this room that I think is a little weird. I've never seen before. So let's go for a walk, shall we? All right, so... Hi. The view is nothing. So, all right. Desk, Dunkin' Donuts, TV, bed, right? Nothing weird, but let's go for a walk over here. It's a jacuzzi next to the bed. Jacuzzi, yeah. Oh, I didn't even look. Oh, there's a microwave and a fridge and a pretty nondescript bathroom. So nothing too crazy. I've severely edited what I keep in my toiletry kit. So maybe one day I'll do a little tour as to what is now in my toiletry kit. But that is my hotel room. That is where I will be in about 10, 20 minutes once it gets full of hot water. So there you go. I do a lot of these Q&A videos. So if you have any questions I haven't answered before, anything about being a flight attendant, at least in my experience, I can share about me. I am an open book, if you haven't already figured that out, or the cats, which is my favorite topic in the world. I'm super excited. This is a 3-day trip that I'm on, and it's a really short one. I think we're only away from base for 36 or 37 hours. So I'll be back in Vegas and in my apartment by about 11:30 tomorrow morning. So Buddy and I can go for our typical walk, and I can give Eleanor and Claire a good solid scratch. And my goal maybe Monday or Tuesday is to take Claire to the vet. We have not been yet. So we'll see what's going on. All right. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it as always. And I will talk to you guys later. All right. Fly safe. Bye.